Welcome back to the next video. Okay, this one I'm going to go over where to screw everything in and what to glue on, which parts to glue together, like I explained in the previous video. So I'm going to show you first the nose section. I haven't sanded down the edges yet, but I've glued it together and filled it up with it's my model filler. So that needs to be sanded down, and then I need to scribe the lines through once I've done that with the scribe tool. Okay. What I've glued as well is the wings, because they come in two parts. The reason for this is it was quite a big mold if I had it on its own, so it was easier to make it two. Okay, what I found the issue on this one was the lining up. It's a little bit thicker on the back end than the front, so there's a little bit of a step. So just fill this up and then sand it down so it looks smooth, and then do your scribing. Okay. So how you know which is left and right is these two big squares. The one looks like a little house and the one just a normal square go on top. So this is the left hand side. You'll also see where it levels out. The more detail is on the top as well. Okay, and then the right hand one the same. Okay, so that's that for the wings. What I've done as well, I'll show you where I screwed everything together. Okay, like I said before, I drilled through and tapped. Okay, so there's going to be a total of 10 screws in this kit, 8 shorter ones and then 2 longer ones. The 2 longer ones is for this base chassis, because there's quite a thick piece it's got to go through. Okay, and then the shorter ones for the rest. And what I've done as well is I have drilled through the side where the little indentation is, and I've tapped it as well into the front section. So what you want to do over here is get it in place, hold it tight together, and you can use an elastic band if you want to, and then just drill through and tap it. What I found on my one was that the tap actually didn't work, it didn't grip. And what you can do is use the on any of the taps you can use the UV glue. Just fit it into the hole, harden it, and then just retap the hole. It works very well. Okay, so as you can see, this going on here makes it quite a long model, and that's now without the engines or anything on it. Okay, so the next thing to put on is the base plate. Important thing with the base plate is it's got to sit flush, or else the top engine won't, the gaps on the side won't close. So I'll take this piece off. So what I'm saying is when you put these two in, and this is flush against here, put it into the hole, it actually pulls up over here on the front. Okay, and then this gap, the space at the back isn't right. So what I've done is I'll put it into the instruction manual as well, is additional 2 holes on the front. Okay, so drill 2 holes about 5mm from the edge and 7mm from the front, and then drill it through and tap it. So that goes straight into your main body and holds the front piece in. Okay, and the way I've designed this to work is these little lugs actually fit into these gaps. So you're going to need to put this in loosely and then fit the engines and then screw it tight so it actually holds them in. So I'll do that now. So what I'm doing over here is, so here's my screws. Sorry, other side. These are already in. Let's make it easier for myself. Okay, so you screw this one in loosely. Another important thing is make sure that this bit is flat on the base plate before you put the screw in, so it actually holds it without a gapping between, because the gaps between this is too low and then the back doesn't line up. Okay, you can see it's slightly loose. So what you can do now is, okay, well it's too loose. I might need to redo that there with the UV glue. Okay, anyway, so this one, other way around. Okay, I've also tapped and drilled these gaps. Okay, so this fits in very tightly, and this one over here, same. Okay, pushing in tight. I mean, you can use force on this. This is very solid. Okay, now you'll see it actually lines up in the bottom. Okay, now you can go ahead and tighten these this way. Tighten this one. Okay, and as you can see, there's a gap. So what we're going to do now is come here. Okay, you need to line them up. Find a hole. In it goes. In it goes. So now this is sitting flush. Okay, so once that's done, now I can put these two in. 1, 2. Okay, these sit very, very tight on these legs. So the screw is just to make sure it doesn't come off, but it's very unlikely it'll just fall off. Okay, so in it goes. Okay, now your rear section, this bit goes in here. So this should sit flush, the slight gap between it. Okay, if that's too far down, you know that this piece is not flush on the onto the base plate. Okay, the issue I found with my one, which I'll rectify when I do new prints, is this rear section of the chassis was actually pushing a gap between the top engine and the front section. So what I mean over there is this piece in, right around. So this part, what was happening was I've sanded down over here. So if you find the same issue, sand down as well. But this goes in there, and with this in there and this into the little space, okay, there should be no gap in this area, okay, at all, else nothing's going to line up. Okay, and what I found was, for some reason, the way it was, I had a gap over there because this was wrong. So I've sanded it down on the back end to bring this engine forward. So I'm going to rectify it when I do further prints for anyone buying the model, to bring it forward, so there'll be like a 1mm step in there. Okay, so because this must line up with no gap over there. Right, so as you can see with this, the back lines up nicely. Okay, so as that is now, these side detail bits, okay, your engines can just slide in, the flat end at the bottom. Okay, you can glue these into here once you've painted them. Okay, but now these side things, which are, by the way, labeled left and right, so this being the left hand one, this must sit flush in the hole, and this must sit flush in there. So this cannot be leaning forward, so it must be glued in perfectly vertically. Okay, so with this going into that gap, okay, so over here you want this lip to go into this gap, and over here it must be flush. Okay, no big gaps between these areas over here. Okay, so once everything's glued together, it'll sit quite well once this is glued in. And the engine sits very tight. Matter of fact, you might not even need to glue this. Okay, but so that's how it's going to sit, and your piping will go on top. Okay, so once again, like I said, use the UV glue if none of your taps work. It's happened to me once or twice now. And then this section, you can, if you're going to do your cockpit lid and then put it together, you can seal the model up. Unless you want to open it, then don't do it. And then basically I'll screw this in. The front section holds it together. So there, get the screws. 1, 2. And these do indent, so you will be able to fit your side detail in quite easily. Just flip it around. Okay, so that's the length of the model, and this is, I think, 52 centimeters, and it's heavy. Okay, so my next job will be just sanding off the areas where I glued it together, make a nice smooth sanding job and smooth it out, and rescribing. And then I'm going to give it a light coat of, or a coat of the paint I'm going to use. I'm not using pure white. I'm using this AS20 Insignia white from Tamaya. Okay, which I used on my De Agostini Falcon as well. I think it's a nice base coat. Plus, it's going to get a lot of weathering as well. I'm going to make this quite a weathered model. Okay, so when I get back, I'll have these sanded down, these smoothed out, and then I'll put a coat of white, and then I'll be back. Okay, so till the next one. Cheers.